In his now famous diss track, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar wants to know whether Drake thought that the San Francisco Bay Area was going to allow Drake to disrespect Tupac without any repercussions.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. You think the Bay gon' let you disrespect Pac? I think that Oakland show gon' be your last stop.
I don't know the answer to that question, but it seems that certain members of Congress are not too keen on the idea of allowing what Drake did in his diss album with respect to Tupac Shakur to continue into the future. Let's have a look.
But I'd like to, I think if staff is prepared, I want to show you a video to give you a recent example. This was interesting, and it was a week or so ago that I saw the estate of Tupac questioning a recent production. I said, more to come. Let's study this more. And we thought it was probably interesting for maybe folks that aren't following the issue as closely as us to show the video. We got staff ready to cue that up.
Kendrick, we need ya. The West Coast savior. Ain't gravy your name and some hip-hop history. If you deal with this viciously, you seem a little nervous about all the publicity. Canadian light-skinned doc. We need to know the baby West Coast victory, man. Call him a to me. Talk about him liking young girls, that's a gift for me. Heard it on the Budding podcast, it's gotta be true. They told me the spirit of Machiavelli is alive.
So that entire musical rendition is a product of AI. And interestingly, that image, one of those, that name, image, and likeness, is something that is the property of Tupac's estate. The other one is a AI-generated image that was obviously done in violation, to the extent it was used for commercial purposes, in violation of copyright. So it just gives you an example, a real word. This is a hypothetical. This happened beginning a week or so ago, shortly after Drake released that song. So we've got work to do.
According to NPR, in an article entitled "It Was a Classic Rap Beef," then Drake revived Tupac with AI and Congress got involved. Congress is contemplating legislation to curb the use of AI images, AI voiceovers, and things of that nature with respect to people who are deceased. The article reads, in late April, Senator Thom Tillis began his testimony before a Senate subcommittee hearing by doing something unusual for a stuffy institution like Congress. He played a new song from the rapper Drake. But it wasn't Drake's rap verse that Tillis felt was important for Congress to hear. Rather, it was a verse in the song featuring the voice of the legendary and long dead rapper Tupac Shakur. The song uses artificial intelligence to resurrect Tupac from the dead and manufacture a completely new and synthetic verse delivered in the late rapper's voice. Drake apparently thought it would be okay to use Tupac's synthetic voice in his song without asking permission from the late rapper's estate. But soon after the song's release, Tupac's estate sent a cease and desist letter demanding that Drake take the song down, which he did. However, given the murky legal landscape regulating AI creations, it's unclear whether Tupac's estate actually has the law on their side. At the heart of the battle over regulating AI-generated digital replicas of dead people is whether their estate should have powers to authorize usage. The idea is that such power will safeguard the artist's legacy and financially benefit their families. So I want to point out that there are two underlying principles here that inform whether or not we should allow the estate to control the artist's legacy. So one is the legacy itself. So take an artist like Prince, for example. Prince had an entire vault full of unreleased records. Now, if a record company was allowed to control that, then the record company is going to act in the record company's best interest, which is generate profits for its shareholders. So they're just going to release everything in there. But Prince didn't release them. And it's arguable that the reason Prince didn't release them is because some of those albums he didn't want the public to hear. And so someone who is more interested in maintaining Prince's legacy as opposed to just financial gain, like his estate, may hesitate to release all of those previously unreleased recordings because they want to keep Prince's legacy intact. Now, the same can be said of Tupac. The same can be said of Michael Jackson. All these artists out here who have these vaults just full of material. Now, Tupac's estate didn't really maintain his legacy. They kind of released everything that he had in his vault, whether good, bad, or indifferent. But that's a story for another time. As the article continues, with the explosion of AI, Tupac, or at least a fake digitally rendered version of him, is seeing another resurgence. It's not just Drake. YouTube is now filled with songs featuring AI Tupac. Some of these songs already have millions of listens. The question is whether any of this is even legal when the creators lack authorization from Tupac's estate. To get an answer to this, NPR spoke to Mark Bartholomew, who's a law professor at the University of Buffalo School of Law. Currently, there are few or no federal laws that explicitly prohibit people from using AI to generate and distribute replicas of you without your consent. Instead, there's a confusing patchwork of laws that vary state by state. Tennessee, the epicenter of country music, recently became the first state to enact a law protecting musicians from unauthorized AI replicas, safeguarding an artist's likeness and voice, both when they're living and dead. Even though he was born in New York, Tupac famously declared California as his home during the latter years of his life. After all, one of his biggest hits is California Love. And so Bartholomew says it's pretty clear that Drake violated the law when he published a song featuring synthetic Tupac, because the rights holders, Tupac's estate, are in California, and California has a pretty vigorous right to your identity in various forms that extend years after death. Bartholomew suggests that Tupac's estate may also have a case under federal copyright law if Drake and his team fed copyrighted Tupac material into AI and used that AI to then generate the synthetic voice. However, the facts of the case are uncertain and the law is very murky in this area. So that brings us to the congressional act that Senators Tillis and Coons and other senators are considering. Which brings us back to that U.S. Senate hearing in late April, where Senator Tillis played that Drake song featuring AI Tupac. Tillis, together with Senators Coon, Blackburn, and Klobuchar, is a co-sponsor of draft legislation known as the No Fakes Act. The No Fakes Act would grant a federal digital replication right to Americans, giving us the power to authorize the use of our image, voice, or visual likeness in a digital replica. It would hold those, like, say, a rapper named Drake, liable if they use a digital replica of someone without authorization. This digital replication right is currently modeled after existing copyright law. So it includes fair use exceptions for free speech and grants this digital replication right not only to a living individual, but also the executors, heirs, assigns, or devisees of the applicable individual for a period of 70 years after the death of the individual. At the hearing, there was a lot of debate over the 70-year postmortem provision. A representative of the motion picture industry argued that it made sense to grant a digital replication right to living performers because an AI fake of them impacts their ability to earn a living. However, he said, after a performer dies, that job preservation justification goes away. So this is a member of the motion picture industry. And essentially, he's arguing that these post-mortem benefits should not apply because, well, as a member of the motion picture industry, he wants to be able to use not only, digital audio recordings, he wants to be able to put images of people in movies. Consider Black Panther. The star of Black Panther dies, and they've already written Black Panther 2. Well, if Disney has the right to use the AI images of the now dead actor, well, then they can use AI to put that actor into Black Panther 2, and then they don't have to worry about hiring another actor, and the entire franchise maintains some cohesiveness. So they have a vested interest in doing this. It's a money-making thing. But this is all he addressed was the job preservation justification that underlies this law. He doesn't say anything about the legacy piece of this, which is why I kind of honed in on the legacy of the artist when it comes to whether or not we should protect these things. Duncan Crabtree Ireland is on the other side, and he's a representative of the SAG-AFTRA union, which represents actors, and they argued that there shouldn't even be a 70-year limitation, that the right should be perpetual. Well, that goes too far in the other direction in this attorney's view, because most 99.999% of us are going to be forgotten soon after we're dead. In the large scheme of things, we're just a blip on the cosmic radar, right? So having a perpetual right that extends to our heirs of our heirs of our heirs of our heirs just gives too much control over this material to our legacy. It gives too much to control to our progeny, and curbs the use of what would otherwise be considered in any other context fair game, copyright context, any other context other than trademarks. So this probably should not be the case. Bartholomew, the expert on law and technology, thinks we need to strike a balance between the interests of artists and their families to control and profit from their legacies on the one hand, and on the other hand, the interests of creators and the general public to have free expression, including the freedom to use AI and reanimate celebrities for that expression in commercial works. He says that the rule should be around 20 years. And that rule, by the way, would have granted Drake the freedom to use AI Tupac in his song without the need for authorization, because Tupac has been dead for almost 30 years. The existing draft legislation would not. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this draft legislation, or just about the use of AI to replicate actors, musicians, and any other artists after they have passed away. Let me know in the comments below. For now, my name is Nathan Saunders, and this is The Legal Good.